you so much for clicking on this video. Hope you're having an awesome day. Thank you for taking a few minutes every day to hang out with me. Today's video, I am doing my first introduction to Pan That Palette. I feel a little bit ambitious for what I have on my list, but damn it, we are going to pan something in 2020. True life, I am very bad at going through makeup products. Before I was this makeup enthusiast and created my channel, I really enjoyed collecting eyeshadow palettes, whether it was for packaging or the color story. Now there's just too many releases to do that these days. I got to the point of having too many eyeshadow palettes, not going through any, so I'm not getting the love that they deserve, but I think I've only gone through like one eyeshadow palette, and it was the first one I ever had in my collection. It was like this big Sephora where you pull out a section and it kind of like makes like a staircase to products. Some of these items that I've set aside have been with me longer. Some are fairly new, but you know what? I feel pretty determined to at least hit pan on one of the shades is my goal in each one of these palettes in 2020. My Project Pan playlist will be linked to watch previous Project Pans. Please subscribe and give this video a like. We're jumping into it now. The first product has been in my collection since college. I remember buying this product immediately when it was released. I am a sucker for packaging and chocolate. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I am sure it is well expired, but you know what? I don't see any mold or any other critters growing out of it. I have come pretty close to hitting pan. There are some good dips in 1, 2, 3 shades right here. Like, this is like a banging transition shade. I remember in college, I thought I was doing my makeup on fleek, putting this in the crease and then one of those 2 shades all over my lid and calling it a day. That is now my signature lazy day makeup look. So I feel confident that one of those shades is going to hit pan by the end of the year. I want to be more ambitious of trying to hit it within like a couple months, but I'm not off to the greatest start of trying to wake up a little bit earlier and do makeup in the morning. Not to look more presentable, but just for me, doing my makeup in the morning is very me time. It's time to myself and it's like a ritual. Find it very therapeutic, very relaxing to start the day. I want to start that up again. Mainly why this palette got chosen, because it is very heavy neutral. Maybe down the line I'll try to hit pan on the other shades. I think those 3 shades is a good goal. I don't know if I would ever toss this out just because it has such sentimental value to me. I guess one of my fondest memories of this palette is when me and Catherine became really close friends in college. When she would come to my apartment, she would always open it up and smell it because she loved how it smelled. She never bought the palette for herself. She just used mine whenever she wanted to. Kind of just reminds me of our friendship building. I know, getting a little sentimental over here. I don't catch feelings all the time. My eyes watering down here. Try not to cry on camera. The second palette that I want to try to hit pan on is the Tarte Toasted palette. Another palette that has sentimental value to me. So leading up to my wedding, we went hard with margaritas. I don't know why I got this expression of I'm toasted every time I was feeling a little tipsy, but that was my go-to phrase. And around that time, this palette was released. And as I thought about it, I did not need another neutral palette. So I originally passed on it. I was like, I'm not going to get this palette because I had already got the Naked Heat palette. They're basically the same color story. We're on our honeymoon in Maui on a beautiful tropical island. Finds a Sephora. It's around that time of the 20% off for rouges going on. A bitch bought this palette. Fell in love with it. I reached for this palette more than the Urban Decay Naked Heat. I don't know. I love the Tartelette formula. It is so good. And I am coming close on hitting pan. There's a good dip in the shade Flame as well as Warmth. This is going to be another palette I don't think I will ever toss. It has that sentimental value of it reminds me of our wedding. So even if I hit pan, it will be up on a bookshelf until I die. The next palette is the Norvina Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. I really like this palette. This was probably one of my favorite Anastasia palettes that she released. I think it's the shimmer shades. At first, I was very hesitant on wanting to use this palette. I was like, it's limited edition. Once it's gone, it's gone. I don't want to use up the shades right away, but I found myself so gravitated. You can definitely tell that Rose Gold has a nice dip in it. Like, I go hard in these shimmers. I definitely want to focus on like the shades Summer and Rose Gold and Dazzling to hit pan. I think trying to hit pan in all of the shimmers is a little bit more ambitious. The mattes have barely even been touched in this palette. I just love putting these shimmers on my eyelids. I'm not doing like a full-blown eye look, just to add like a little shimmer or sparkle to the lids. I just find that these shades work out so nice. Put on some eyeliner, mascara, boom, you are done. The newest item to my collection is the Natasha Denona Cranberry palette. This is very ambitious putting it in. I have been so drawn to putting the shimmers on my eyelids. Very similar situation to the Norvina palette. I love the shimmers. I don't find myself reaching for these two mattes at all. I mean, they're pretty shades, but honestly, the only reason I still have this in my collection is for the shimmer shades, and that is Natasha Denona. Besides that point, it would never be reached for, so I want to put it in this project so that way it is getting love and not collecting dust. There's so many palettes in my collection collecting dust for one reason or another. I'm also trying to use this palette as a motivation of not setting aside a very luxury brand to like preserve it and actually use it. Otherwise, it's never gonna get used. Metropolis palette hasn't been used yet. Sunset palette has barely been used, so I feel like I can get over my fear of preserving the luxury eyeshadow palettes. I have it, I should use it, and we're gonna hit pan on one of these shades. I seem to be rotating between these three shimmers. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, boom, got my makeup looks already planned out for the week. And then I put a face palette in because I seem to be using this damn palette every single video. It is the Tarte Tartiste Pro Glow palette, specifically this side. Now, this palette has hard panned on me. It hasn't really been affecting the highlighter or bronzing shade, mainly the blush. But I love this face palette, especially the bronzer. I thought it was gonna be a very rich orange undertone for me. It's like the perfect bronze shade though. The highlighter's pretty decent. It just emphasizes texture in my pimples when I use it. And then the blush has been a little bit lacking since it is very hard panned and gross, but I should try the tape trick to fix it. But I feel that I'm using it so consistently. I feel like at least the bronzer or the highlighter will hit pan. Those are a little bit more powdery than the blush shade. That would be my goal. To be clear, just this side of the palette because that's the one I seem to be using. Eventually I'll make it to this side, which you can tell that this side has not hard panned compared to that side. 2020 is going to be the year I pan something, I go through some products. That is my goal. I am working on a full-blown project pan for makeup, but I wanted to separate these products into a pan that palette series. I thought about just doing one palette at a time, but I figured that these palettes were going to be heavily rotated. They are going to be very practical palettes. I would love to know if you're doing a project pan for 2020. Project panning is something new for me, and it's kind of motivation to actually use products in my collection and go through them. I take forever to go through products, whether it's makeup or skincare. That's just a personal goal for me, and I'm using my channel to keep me accountable for that aspect. Are there any palettes in your collection that you are trying to use up and get through? Have you ever gone through an eyeshadow palette? I fully did not get through the Sephora one that I'm referring to, but I had most of the shades were pretty much gone. It just got really, really, really gross. My chocolate bar palette isn't nearly as gross as that one, but it's on track to. I don't know when the next video of this series is going to be, but it will definitely be an update of the first shadow that gets panned, as well as revisiting the progress of all the shades that we are trying to pan. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and if you don't, thank you for the view anyways, and I'll see you in the next video.